Good morning, Tallahassee. It's time to wake up War Chant on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Here's WarChant.com's Aslan Hajavandi and Corey Clark.
It's Wake Up War Chant, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Program's brought to you by For the Table Hospitality. Wake Up War Chant's myself, Aslan Hajavandi, and Corey Clark, senior writer and columnist for WarChant.com. But you're here for him. So, Corey, let us know. How are you? How was your weekend? Tell us everything. Spare no detail.
No, it wasn't really all that exciting at all. But I'm alive. I'm breathing air.
Yep.
Breathing what do we breathe? Oxygen,
yes,
right?
Yes, correct. Mainly.
Isn't that what we do here as humans? Yeah. So I'm living life. Pretty nice weather. A little hot, a little toasty, but I'm living.
Okay. Your thoughts on Didier Deschamps' tactics in the second half of the France-Croatia World Cup final? Was it the addition of left back support you think that really swung things in the favor of Les Bleus?
I didn't quite understand much of what you just asked me.
Okay.
But hey, man, soccer's over. So I hate to be that guy. And actually, Atlanta has a pretty good soccer team.
They do.
And a crazy amount of fan interest because Atlanta's not, and I'm a native Atlantan. We're not really known as a great sports town, but we've really embraced the Atlanta United. So I was going to say I'll probably be interested in soccer again in another 4 years. But with Atlanta United might keep my interest a little bit. But other than that, that was kind of a cool way to spend 3 weeks.
Yeah. Wasn't bad at all. Here's something you understand. Everybody understands. It's the universal language.
Time.
Corey's. All right, we're back at it, man. I think I hit that one. I nailed it that time.
Yeah, that was clutch.
We are cooking with gas, brother. All right, the top 40 of WarChant.com is available on WarChant.com. You can also check the videos out on YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, folks. By the way, it's free. Doesn't cost any money. And you'll get instant alerts whenever we post video content. I know most of you guys like to read stuff, and the ladies like to read, which is fine. But, YouTube, we got some videos. You can actually see, again, the ruggedly handsome Corey Clark side by side with Irish O'Fell, Jeff Cameron, who's got a program right here on ESPN 97.9, 3 to 6 p.m., and Gene Williams talking about this and laying out the composite top 40. But we're going to focus on Corey's top 40. So we're at the 20 to 11. We've actually unveiled all the way up to the top 5 on WarChant.com. But this segment, let's go from 20 to 11, Corey, if you don't mind. You kick things off.
Okay. All right.
You kick things off.
I got it in front of me.
Okay.
You didn't tell me we were going to do that, but I quickly got into my email and got it.
Okay, sorry. Let's keep you on your toes. It makes it organic, I think people can feel it when it's staged. They like it when it's raw and real.
Sure. So, number 20, I got the Eraser.
Yeah.
At number 20. Number 19, Keith Gavin. I don't know where he's going to fit in this season. This is kind of, obviously the make or break year for him. But I think, it's just there. He can make plays. He's a good player. He's proven he can make plays. He's got to be more consistent. He's got to be more consistent catching the ball. And you got to hope he stays healthy, but I think he could be a weapon.
Hey, has he caught a touchdown?
Has he not?
I'm just trying
he might not have.
I don't know if he's ever caught a touchdown. And that's my thing. This is, you talk about make or break for a guy. I mean, golly.
Again, though, I judge on a curve when it comes to young wide receivers in Jimbo Fisher's offense.
He has not, or he didn't last year. Let me look at his career.
Yeah, he definitely didn't his freshman year because he never got on the field. Because how could he?
Bunch of zeros, but he's got that one kickoff, 66 yards though, in 2016.
Yeah, we remember that one.
Yeah, last season, 27 catches, 278 yards, no scores.
Yeah, and he was hurt a good bit. I mean, he's a physical presence. He can make plays. He can go get the ball.
But he hasn't. Target. He hasn't, though. He hasn't, Corey. He hasn't gone and got the ball. He hasn't done anything.
Well, I mean, sure. What had Nooney Murray done until they actually got out there and started playing? He hasn't played enough to really have a fair gauge of what Keith Gavin can be.
Okay,
but we know he does have the potential because we've seen it.
We've seen amazing.
The physicality. We've seen the speed.
His name should be Adonis Thomas. Adonis Thomas should be named Keith Gavin. I think the world would come to a more synchronized sort of harmonious sort of spin. But anyhow, I'll stop talking. Continue.
That's good stuff. Radio gold, baby, between the two of us. Number 18 is LeBourne. Is it Kalen? Is that that's what we go with? Kalen?
How come
LeBourne?
Why are you so resistant to everybody's given name? Do you not like calling me Aslan? Do you want to call me something besides Aslan?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that phonetically is right. I would have thought this one would be Kalan. Khalan to me would be Kalan, but that's
it would be
me.
nice if the last A was an I. If it was Khalin, then Caitlin might come better. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. The A kind of gives me pause, makes me think, okay, that might be Kalan.
Yeah.
But and again, he could be much higher when the season's over.
I think so.
He's my 18 right now, but depending on, I mean, man, he was pretty darn electric in that spring game, and I think there's a role on this team for him, and depending on health, he could be of the other two guys in front of him, maybe even the other three guys. We don't ever really talk about Rasul, but he can play too. So there's just not going to be a ton of carries for him. That's why he's so low to me. But next year, I think he'll be a top 10 guy along with Akers. I think that'll be an incredible duo next year. Anyway, so after him is Derek Kelly, versatile guy, important piece of the offensive line, 17. 16 is the other running back, not named Cam Akers, Jacques Patrick at 16. What do you think about him? What kind of impact? Because Jeff Cameron doesn't think he'll have much of an impact this season because of the difference in offense. But I disagree. What do you think? Where do you think Jacques Patrick
I think
will lie on this offense?
I think Jacques is firmly entrenched as the number 2 guy. I mean, I think Kalen, let's be honest. I mean, Kalen LeBourne had a fantastic run in the spring, but let's not put too much. It's fun. It's acceptable to let the mind wander and think how special he can be, because that run, his jump cut was Matrix-like. It was ridiculous. Just, I mean, he pinballed in the trench to an obscene degree that you don't usually see. Now, how often can he, sort of replicate that? Plus, I think I looked at the replay the other day, and one of the linebackers that was coming to fill in the gap is a guy that I don't even think is on scholarship. So, but no, I think Jacques, yeah, man, he's very undervalued, I think. He's not going to be flashy, maybe, in terms of what Cam does or Kalen can do in the open field, but dude, Jacques going to get yards. I mean, 3rd and 3 from the shotgun, I don't feel bad about giving the ball to Jacques. I think he'll get it for you. So, I mean, 16, I think, is probably about right. I think that's a pretty good spot. How did you go about?
He was a good player for them last year.
Yeah, he was.
Jacques Patrick was a good college football player for them last year.
I was going to ask
Agreed?
you this. Yeah, no, you're right. Like, and I'm sorry to sidetrack you on this. I probably shouldn't ask you this right now, but I'm already doing it, and we're just doing Radio Gold right now. Like, if I would have been tasked with doing the top 40, I think I would have looked at the entire roster maybe, and I'm sure you guys did, but I think I would have gone with, like, who's the starting 22, and then maybe start, like, filling in gaps from there. I mean, are there guys that you think that aren't going to be starters that are higher than, like, 22 on your list?
Well, Patrick, I guess, if he won't be a starter. But I also think with running backs, too, he's going to play a lot of them together.
Right.
So Patrick's going to be on the field a lot with Cam Akers, and LeBourne's going to be on the field with Akers or Patrick. So they're going to have a way to make an impact. I don't Babion Johnson, I guess, is somebody that I can see maybe making his way in the rotation. Tamorian Terry. I don't know that he'll start at wide receiver, but he's going to get on the field. But other than that, I don't even know if Jaden Woodby's going to start, but he's pretty high on the list, right?
Yeah, 25. That's good though. 25 is good. Like Tamorian Terry's 21. That's that's starting material. I like that. So, yeah.
Yeah, but then there are some guys. One of the linebackers will probably be lower than that. Obviously, Aguayo and Logan Tyler, that doesn't really count. But
true.
Some of these guys, it seems like they're almost interchangeable. Like the starter and the backup are pretty darn close together, especially when it comes to like linebackers. We haven't seen any of them.
We have way too many on the list.
We don't know what the difference is between Josh Brown and DeKalen Brooks.
There's way too many linebackers on this list, brother. Not yours. It's just the overall.
But they got to make it. You hope they make an impact.
Why?
Yeah, I mean, they are important in the sense that they need to find some guys that can play. Because if they don't, it's not going to be fun to. It's not going to be very pretty.
I mean, retroactively, 2013. How many guys make the top 40 that are linebackers? Telvin, Christian Jones, and then
that's it. Yeah, that's it, probably.
That's 2
and
guys.
Then after the season, you throw Terrence Smith in there.
3. I mean, golly, we're up to 17 on your list, and you have Josh Brown.
Well, I don't know. Top 40, there might have been a couple others that you would have thrown in.
No, that's what I meant. Anyhow, I'll stop talking. Back to you, Corey.
Anyway,
keep going.
All right, then number 15 is Landon Dickerson, which I had a lot lower than the other 3 guys. I think Gene had Landon Dickerson at 6. Ira had Dickerson at 5, and Jeff had him at 6, and I had him at 15, which was probably an oversight on my part. He's just he hasn't been able to stay healthy. If he is healthy, I guess you would make an argument that he's probably the best lineman on the team.
Yeah.
In my opinion, anyway, he's got that, like we talked about, he's got that nasty attitude, and he's big. He's a road grader, all that good stuff. But, he's also, I guess a guard is important. I probably should add him higher, but he's 15 on my list. Sorry, Lando. There you go. I like that. L. Dix. Sorry about that, buddy. But you're 15 on Corey Clark's list, and you're top 10 on everybody else's. Number 14 is Hamsa. Old Hamsa National Dean. We like him because he goes ham. Number 13 is Nooney Murray. He's much talked about. I think, again, he's a guy that could be top 8, top 5 if he has the kind of season he thinks he's capable of having. So, but, he had 600 yards last year, 40 catches. It was all right. But
how about this? Where do you think the number one receiver on this list would end up at the end of the year? Like, whoever the leading receiver is, how high do you think they would be, like, on a post top 40 or postseason top 40?
Yeah, I think top 10. I think maybe top 5, depending on what it looks like. There's number one receivers look a lot of different ways. There's 2014 Rashad Green, and then there's like 2016 Bobo. 2016 Bobo, I don't know if makes my top 10, but 2014 Rashad Green might make my top 3,
right?
Top 2. So it kind of depends on what it looks like. But I think Nooney Murray has the ability to be that guy. He's got to be dependable. And he's got to make play. He's just got to make plays. He was so good that second half of his sophomore year. And then last year, for reasons some of that weren't his fault, the offensive line wasn't very good. The passing game wasn't very good. They only called 12 plays a game. He didn't get a lot of chances to shine. This year he will. This is his chance. So hopefully for him it works out. But so I had him at 13, and then I had Jawan Williams at 12. Only because I think, and remember, it's not who the best player is, it's who's the most important. And I think if Jawan Williams is Jawan Williams and is the guy that everybody thinks he could be at that tackle spot and gives them that size and that athleticism, it can anchor it over there. Man, how good would that be for an offensive line that has not been able to keep any of its quarterbacks upright for the last 3 years?
Yeah. Big risk, big reward on that one for you, for sure. Yeah,
I was way high on that. No, I don't think anybody else had him in their top 20, and for me, he was number 12. Ira didn't even have him on his list.
Yeah.
So, we'll see who's right at the end of the year, but I just think importance-wise, man, that's a really important position, and they haven't had a good one, a real solid one in a while, and he could be good. And, man, if they could just give their quarterbacks time to throw in this offense, man, it could be a treat to watch. And then finally, number 11 – is Stanford Samuels.
The third.
He's a good quarterback. The third, sorry, not the second. Don't get it twisted. Stanford Samuels, the third. Playing opposite of Levante Taylor should give Florida State one of the better quarterback duos in the country, certainly in the conference.
It's pretty cool. While I was putting these videos together, Corey, I was going into our vast, robust archive of video from spring and sprinkling in some clips, B-roll as they call it in the business, of these players. And during defensive back drills, they'll usually kind of partner up on tackling drills where they'll have one guy just kind of do a brisk jog, and then the other guy will come jumping off the line and will wrap up, and then you thud wrap up, and then you're done. Like Stanford Samuels was matched up with Hamsa, like that was his partner in the drill. That's your cornerback, maybe your number one. Or no, Levante's your number one cornerback, but he's one of your starting cornerbacks most likely. And the guy that he's most sort of physically on plane with to do a physical drill is your 6'4", 6'5", freaky athletic safety. So that's like I saw that, I'm like, that's a pretty good sign when your number 2 cornerback is like that physical and he's fluid enough to play corner and he's matched up with a guy that size.
And remember, didn't he have a couple of really nice plays in the bowl game? I know it was Southern Miss in, godforsaken Shreveport.
Be nice.
But
nice.
I think he did make a couple plays out in the flat where he just dismissed blockers and really hit guys hard. I was really impressed with his physicality in that game.
All right, very good. All right, Corey, let's put a pause on that. We'll pick up the top 10 later in the program. I want to talk about just the general excitement surrounding the program right now. ACC kickoff begins on Wednesday. We'll be up there for it. But just a couple things I want to talk about regarding Willie Taggart. Your thoughts on how good the offense is going to be and how that's going to trickle down to maybe the final win-loss record. I'll make sense of it all, I promise. It's Wake Up War Channel. We're coming right back after this. It's 97.9 ESPN Radio.
You're locked in to Wake Up War Chant on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Wake up! 97.9 ESPN Radio's Wake Up War Chant. Corey Clark and myself, Aslan Hajavandi, here for you on this Monday. Brought to you by For the Table Hospitality and their 3 great locations in the College Town District. Central, Madison Social, and Township. Check them on out. Don't forget, folks, free parking in the first 2 levels of the College Town parking garage from 11 to 1? Yeah, that was confident. Trust me on that one. All right, Corey, we're going to put a pause on the top 40. Something I saw on the boards, warchant.com, Tribal Council. Use your promo code WARCHANT30 for access to it. So, and you've mentioned this a few times on the program where games just aren't going to be a grind anymore for Florida State come September and moving forward. That's the belief. That's the hope. That's Willie Taggart's sort of mandate, right? He's not going to, no more sludging around, plotting offenses. And you've mentioned a couple times I haven't really challenged you on it. I'm not challenging. I just want to know if you can kind of help connect some dots. So you say the games aren't going to be a grind, as much of a grind anymore, and they're going to be able to maybe pull away from lesser opponents, I guess, more at a higher rate than they did under Jimbo. But, I mean, ultimately, if you win the game, you win the game. Like, what's the difference is going to be between 2018 Florida State beating Wake Forest 42-10 than like 23-21? I mean, obviously there's a difference in terms of the way it looks on the field, but how is that going to help the overall, I guess, final record or the way this team's going to perform week in and week out overall?
Well, my point there is that the reason I think they could have a very good year this year is just my point overall when it comes to all this. If you're not in as many close games, you don't have as many chances of losing in the fourth quarter. Like most of their Florida State's losses over the last few years have been in the fourth quarter, late in games where they had a chance to win. Well, man, wouldn't it be nice to be up 17 in a fourth quarter where that's not a possibility? So just the margin for error becomes much bigger when you have a big lead, obviously. And the margin for error, if you're in 4 close games a year, well, you win 2, you lose 2. Okay, well, you still had a good year. You went 10-2. But if you're in 9 close games a year, and you go 5-4 or 4-5, well, all of a sudden you've had a disastrous year. You can't expect to win all your close games like that 2014 team, obviously. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some. So you just don't want to be in that many. And they're in one all the time. I think it was in Jimbo Fisher's last 21 games against Power 5 opponents, the last 21 games, Florida State was 12-9, and of those 12 wins, 6 were by a touchdown or less. It just, when you're in close games all the time, you are going to lose some of them. They could have lost that Duke game. They could have lost that Wake game. They could have won the Clemson game. But you're always in close games. Sometimes, man, it's nice to be up 35-6 in the third quarter. And it just gives you more, if you play a close game every week, well, you're going to lose 4 or 5 of them. It's just how it works. So that was my point. The record being, it's not like if you win 8-5 with 8 blowout wins and 5 narrow losses, you're going to feel better about a season than if you in 8-5 another way. It wasn't so much just the end result. It was just how much better your season can be because you're not in so many close games. It gives you a better chance of having a better season, in my opinion.
Hey, Corey.
Did that make sense, or am I talking? Does that make sense?
That makes absolute sense. Totally.
Okay.
All right.
Good.
I got it. All right. That's, yeah. Okay. I'm totally, yeah. That makes sense. I connect.
But how about that? How about like in the last 21 games against Power 5 opponents that Jimbo Fisher coached at Florida State, only 6 of them did they win by more than a touchdown.
Yeah.
That's crazy for a team, just a team like Florida State that actually in that span still won, some games. But to always be in a close game, man, it's hard. It's hard. You're in a close game. They were in 15 close games the last 2 years. They went 6-9 or 6-8 probably. They got blown out at Louisville. You when it becomes a coin flip, whether you win or lose, because it always comes down to the final 3 minutes, or a field goal, or a missed tackle, or whatever, you're gonna find a way to lose some of those games.
All right, I dig it. The reason I brought that up was because I saw something similar in vain, but it obviously did not have as lucid and as airtight of an argument as you just made right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. It was just the fact that Willie's not going to be stuck in 23 to 17 grinders against the bottom half of the ACC conference. And I'm like, okay, well then we'll make sense of it for me then, which you just did. My sort of, I don't want to say concern is, I still just don't think that we're just going to week in and week out just hang 40 on everybody. And if we do, there's probably a good chance the other team, for whatever reason, and I like Harlan Barnett, and I like the defense, but those offenses still end up being in a lot of close games that they're just not 23-17. You know, and there's inexplicable losses still happen. You know, Gus Malzahn and Auburn lose bizarre games. Clemson lost to Pitt 2 years ago. Clemson lost to Syracuse last year. Like, these high-flying, fun offenses, they still can sputter at times, and they still have inexplicable losses. And that's like that albatross that continues to hang around Jimbo's neck around here. And I feel like it's going to be less of it happening, but no one's immune from it. And I feel like some people think that Willie's going to quarantine us and make Florida State immune from losing to Boston College and from losing to we lost to Wake in 2010 under Jimbo. So I just think like these things can still happen when you're playing like this, but overall it's going to be more aesthetically pleasing, so maybe it won't hurt as much in the end.
Well, and again, though, I also just think there will be – I mean, when was the last time Florida State – I mean, I think they blew out Boston College on a Friday night a couple of years ago, Dalvin's last year, and maybe one or two other games. But how many blowout wins do you remember Florida State having? Not even blowout. Comfortable. 31-10, 31-14. How many of those have they had in the last 4 years? It was just painstaking. Every game would come down to the fourth quarter, literally every game. And I think now it's not going to, like, maybe this year there will be 6 games that come down to the fourth quarter instead of 9 or 10. And I just think that's the difference. But yeah, you're right, man. They're not, of course, this team isn't going to be immune to that. And you're right to point out that, Dabo should have lost to NC State a couple of years ago.
Should have lost to Troy. He should have lost to Troy the year they won. They made it. They were number 1. They should have lost to Troy at home.
Yeah, I mean they're not and I guess Alabama isn't either. No program, no team is immune to close wins or almost losing games. That always happens. But Clemson, unlike Florida State, would also win some games by 4 and 5 touchdowns. It wasn't a nail biter every week. So again, it's just law of averages. The more close games you're in, the more likely you are to lose 1 or 2 or 6 of them. But when you're in only 3 close games a year and you win 2 of the 3, well, okay, that's a pretty good season.
Yeah, I mean, Clemson actually, they only beat Wake Forest, I think, by 2 last year, and that game was actually at home for them. Meanwhile, Florida State went on the road and, took care of business, but nothing to brag about.
Clemson beat Wake Forest by 2 points last year?
I think so. Oh, no, I take it back. I was wrong. 28-14. It was 28-14. I think maybe the year prior. I think the year they won the national title it was.
Think about that, like just 28-14. That's not all that impressive. It's kind of a ho-hum. Clemson kind of must have gone through the motions and didn't play well in offense. Yeah. How many 14-point wins has Florida State had in the ACC the last 3 or 4 years? It's just they're really hard to find. Yeah, there's just not a lot of them.
Forget everything I just said in the last 35 seconds regarding Clemson. Yeah, they've taken care of them the last few years. I don't know. I thought I saw them only struggle with somebody last year. But anywho, point remains that they're winning.
What you said.
They're winning the games. I know they're not going to forget that at all. They remember everything I say. But yeah, the point remains Clemson wins those games. Florida State has found a way to not win those games. But I don't know. That's the thing. I'm excited. Like, it's going to be cool to see a team play up tempo and let a freshman go out there and run a route when a game matters in October. Yep. These are all good things. I'm just saying, I guess it's stupid at the end of the day for me to try to like calm people down because people are going to think what they want to think, but it's not going to be perfect. And I know a lot of people are like, well, we're not saying it's going to be perfect. It's going to be better. Like, I get it, but there are just certain things that this sort of offense is going to open Florida State to, but I mean, Florida State's dealt with everything good and bad with Jimbo Fisher. I mean, there's been inexplicable losses. There's been fantastic wins. There's been humiliating losses. So it's hard to see how this would be any worse. So, I mean, we should be mentally prepared for anything that comes our way if you're a Florida State fan.
True. Yeah. True, buddy.
Yeah. All right, man, let's step aside for another break. We'll reconvene and get back to Corey's top 40. We'll start diving into the top 10, numbers 6 through 10. How would you characterize these guys that are coming up, Corey? These guys are likely
what
all
do we call
ACC?
them? War daddies?
Or this is like the War Daddy level? So it's like Silver Chief?
Yeah, I think we're now into the War Daddy level.
Okay. War Daddy's coming up next. 97.9 ESPN Radio. It's Wake Up War Chant.
These recruiting updates are nothing but fluff.
Are you wasting your time again on free blogs and social media to get the scoop on FSU recruiting?
Yeah, it's all bait and switch. Get me excited with a headline, but get nothing in return. You're on warchant.com. What's really going on with FSU recruiting?
Could be another top 5 class, but for the real scoop, you'll need to get your own War Chant subscription.
What's it cost?
Free. There's a 30-day trial offer. Just sign up and you'll get full access through signing day. And nobody has more accurate and timely information on recruiting than warchant.com.
You know I like free. Sign me up.
warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole source.
Welcome back. Wake Up War Chant, 97.9 ESPN Radio. I'm Aslan. He is Corey. The show's brought to you by For the Table Hospitality. If you would like to leave us a message for the Renegade Express, feel free to. I don't know if we're going to actually have one this week because we're going to be just so busy up in Charlotte talking to all the movers and shakers in the ACC, obviously. Willie, Brian Burns, Cam Akers. We expect to have them on the program at some point this week. We'll try to see if we can get Coach Justin Fuente and Mark Richt. That's kind of in the air right now. I'm trying to beg and grovel for them, but who cares about them? We'll have the heavy hitters, which you guys all want. But you can call, give us a message, and we'll get to it maybe next week if we don't do it this week. 850-792-5730. That's the call line for the Renegade Express, Corey. Are you pumped for Charlotte? Dude, you, me, and Ira, I am psyched.
You're ready to go, huh? You're fired up.
We're going to get loose. Like, Gene, brace yourself. Big expense report coming your way. Big, huge, bigly.
Well, it's going to be bigly. It is going to be bigly. And, man, yeah, we're going to paint the town red. You know, Ira's going to stay out till at least midnight, maybe 11:30. I mean, you can't after midnight, though. And then you and I will just we'll be up when the sun comes up.
Yeah, man.
And then we'll just head on over to the media hotel and do our interviews.
I think
that would be a good addition of Wake Up War Chant. Not if we're sloppy drunk, but if we got a buzz going and we're talking to these guys, that could be kind of fun. I
can't because I never did this I did this for television once, and it was by accident. And it was when I was in Omaha for the College World Series. We went to the Drover and had a fantastic steak dinner, and I had about 3 glasses of wine. And I still had to do a live shot. And I absolutely nailed it. I mean, just crushed it.
There you go.
But this is the problem, though, Corey, and I've said it. I would either be extremely great drunk or I'd be a train wreck. And if I was great, I'd want to keep doing it. And then I'd become an alcoholic, and then my life falls apart. So you're going to
you become incredible, and you're like the Ernest Hemingway of, anchors and radio show hosts.
Did Ernest Hemingway was always hitting the bottle or something?
Wasn't he a big drinker? I thought he was a big drinker, and he wrote half his stories while he was drunk.
I mean, he did everything in Key West, right? It wasn't where he.
I could be completely wrong. I might have him confused with Stephen King.
Okay, fair enough. But yeah, I think our hotel actually has a rooftop bar, so we can, just get loose up there, man. Watch the sunset and rise, and just.
And Stephanie will be there with me.
All right, she'll keep you on.
So we'll have some female accompaniment, so it won't look like just three creepy dudes out by themselves. I always thought
what's wrong with that? What's 3 guys can't go out and have beers anymore?
I've always thought if you go out in a group of guys and you have at least one female with you, it makes it look like, okay, well, these guys must not be too creepy because a woman can stand their company.
Not complete savages.
Yeah, exactly.
So
that's all. I always thought that was a good thing to have when you went out on the town. Okay. Anyway, so we go back to my war daddies.
Let's go back to your war daddies, man.
Okay, number 10, Alec Eberle. Enough said, 33 straight starts at center. Will probably be starting again, and actually was good last year. And he was much maligned in 2016, but he was really hurt, much more injured than we ever knew. He had a hip problem and a shoulder problem, or he was in real pain. Number 9 is the one to me that could be the next 2 actually are guys that haven't really proven anything. But we think that their potential is such that they could be stars by the end of the year. The number 9 is DJ Matthews.
Yep.
And number 8 is Marvin Wilson.
I'm all in on DJ. I'm all in on DJ. Marvin, I'll take a wait and see approach. I get it. He's got the measurables. He was the number 1 defensive tackle in the nation. But that wasn't necessarily a very stout defense last year. He didn't find his way onto the field. So I have a little bit of maybe he won't live up to it this year, but I'd love for him to. The injury also is a little bit of a concern as well, but I'm all in on DJ Matthews. I'm there with you, man. I'm all in on DJ.
Yeah, I think he's going to be a big time. I think they're going to want to throw him the ball 12 times a game, it seems like. Just literally how you do. Like you said when you watched him, he'll just take the snap and throw a screen pass real quick on like 2nd and 4. Mm-hmm. They're going to do that a lot with DJ Matthews because the guy's just kind of one of those special guys in space. Marvin Wilson, yeah, man, if he can be what they think he can be, man, that's such a big deal to have a defensive tackle that's dominant. I mean, they haven't had one in a while. Derek Nottie was good, by the way, really good, like third-round pick good. But, if you could get a guy that's a potential first-round pick in the middle of your line, just wrecking offenses, man, that's a big deal. Number 7 is Levonta Taylor. Much talked about already. Very good. One of the best up-and-coming junior cornerbacks in the country. Will probably be his last year in Tallahassee. So let's hope he makes it count better than the junior who declared early last year at cornerback. And number 6, DeMarcus Christmas.
There we go.
It's a good list, right?
That's solid. I like that.
Yeah. But again, 2 of those guys are unproven. Marvin Wilson and DJ Matthews haven't done jack squat in games that matter, really. So let's see what they're being counted on to be impact players when they have yet to make an impact. So that can always be a little dicey.
I think the bar was set so low for punt returners at Florida State, and not even because of McFadden, but just because of the post Greg Reed world that we lived in, that just seeing DJ Matthews against, I don't know, was it Delaware State or whomever, where he returned kicks, and you're like, oh, wow, that is so different than what we've seen. I think he's actually I think he's proven the fact that he's able to be a competent and a weapon, at least returning the ball. Receiving now, I mean, we'll see. He's got a total of, I think, 6 catches last year, 72 yards. Does have a touchdown. Came against Louisiana Monroe, but still, that's an FBS team, so you can't totally poo-poo on it. I think about, it's been miserable as a fan, Corey, of Florida State to watch them return punts. God bless Rashad Green, but when Rashad Green was returning punts in 14, you're like, just catch it. Just catch it. Fair catch every time. I don't want you to take one step left, right, back, forward. Just fair catch it. Let's get the ball, and we'll go to work from there. Florida State can actually gain yardage on special teams when they force the other team to punt now. It's crazy.
Wouldn't that be something?
Amazing. It changes a whole new world.
Not only, gets some yardage, but not hand them the ball.
Yes.
A lot of good things can come from punt returns.
I like it. I do like it. I think DJ,
and especially in a place like Florida State, man, that's what this school. I mean, they had 3 of the best all time. And Willie Reed doesn't get nearly enough credit. I know we always talk about Greg Reed,
he's the man,
and he was awesome. But Willie Reed was something else his last year, man. He was a incredible punt returner. Not to mention, by the way, I hate the phrase "not to mention," because what comes inevitably after you say "not to mention"? What do you end up doing?
Mentioning something.
Yes. So what does it even mean? It doesn't make any sense. So when I say right there, not to mention Deion Sanders, Terrell Buckley, and Peter Warrick, well, I just mentioned them. So shouldn't it be two mention?
Well, I think it's just going to the fact that you no longer
write and say not to mention.
Well, it's like there's no longer any evidence needed, but I'm going to go ahead and give you even more evidence, sort of a thing. It's the way prose was written back in the day, Corey. Appreciate it. It's you Anglo-Saxons did this to the English language, brother. Embrace it.
Not to mention, I'm about to mention some things.
DJ,
it's ridiculous. Anyway,
18 punt returns for 200 yards last year, a long of 47 yards. Tavares McFadden, 12 returns. You want to guess how many yards he had on those 12 returns, Corey?
-44.
Oh, don't be totally facetious.
I would say 50.
42. I was going to put the over-under at 50. 12
Yikes.
For 42, 3.5-yard average.
And again, that's not fair. That doesn't count for fair catches.
Right.
It's not like that's just when he actually caught the ball and tried to run forward with it.
Yeah.
He averaged 3.5 yards a punt return. But we should mention that I believe most of DJ Matthews' work came against Delaware State. It wasn't like he was going up against real athletes coming at him. So we should put it in a little more perspective. But yes, it was pretty easy to see the first 2 times DJ Matthews had the ball in his hands that he should have been one of the guys back there. Or quite frankly, Levonta Taylor was supposed to be an incredible punt returner in high school. and he was supposed to be in the mix for that. And maybe he could be in the mix again this year.
He got some burn. He got some burn during spring drills, catching punts back there. It was good to see. And then
not to mention,
Hey-o.
Nooney Murray was pretty exciting when he tried to return punts in 2016.
I liked it. I know he goofed against Michigan, but the fearlessness.
Well, and Florida, he gave. Don't forget, he gave Florida their only touchdown.
That's right. Nooney, that's right. Oh man, I would have moved him down 3 spots in my top 40 had I remembered that, but I didn't do it top 40.
Right.
Yeah, you can't do that to the Gators. But I
think that was their only touchdown. I think was him just handing the ball to the guy.
It just Tavares and McFadden. Like, what were they? How did that just keep happening for so long?
It's a long mystery. It'll be a mystery that'll never be solved, really.
Yeah. DJ also had 1 kick return for 37 yards. So that gave him.
I like the guy. I mean, I do. And you saw him in the spring game, and you saw him in practices. They're just going to throw the ball to him and say, "Hey, man, go make 14 yards." Yeah. Block out there and go make get the wide receiver, Gavin or Terry, one of the big guys. Block out, or McKinney. You're going to have a blocker, make a guy miss, and try to get a first down. I think they're going to do that a ton.
I like his odds more often than not.
And me too.
You talked about Marvin Wilson too. I mean, if everything goes right for him, next year, 19 will be his last year. I mean, it's teed up pretty nice for him this year, though, with DeMarcus Christmas next to him. I mean, I don't know if he'll have as much of, a big help next to him in 19. I don't know if like Cedric Woodward's going to be the guy on the interior by that time, but like those 2 guys, there's no proven depth behind those guys. But that's got to be behind Clemson, the 2 best interior guys, at least talent-wise. I mean, DeMarcus Christmas got the production in the entire conference.
You would think, again, we're going on we're going on potential with Marvin Wilson because he hasn't proven anything. I think he had 7 tackles last year, so he's completely unproven. But if he can reach that potential that we've been told he has, and I mean, you could just see the body, and if he's got the burst that they act like he does, then I think, I mean, he's a guy that, Jimbo thought was a first-round pick when he signed. And Jimbo's, pretty good track record of knowing who's going to be an NFL player one day, and he thought the guy was going to be an incredible college player. So, now's the time to make that happen if he's healthy.
Hopefully he's healthy. All right, we'll be right back after this, wrapping up the program on this Monday. It's Wake Up War Chant's 97.9 ESPN Radio.
You're locked in to Wake Up War Chant on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
You heard the man. Welcome back to the program. Wake Up War Chant. I'm Aslan. He's Corey. Show's brought to you by For the Table Hospitality. We both work for warchant.com. If you're not a member, become one. Join the fam. WarChant30. That's your promo code. 30 free days access to warchant.com. You can see the video of the composite free of charge. The breakdown capsules that come from the mind of Irish O'Fell and Corey and Gene Williams. Those are behind the paywall, but we have the videos up there on YouTube if you want to check it out. I'm excited to see your top 5. Corey, as we start unveiling that. We'll probably have to put a pause on that because I think we're going to start cranking out stuff for ACC kickoff. So super excited about, again, going to Charlotte with you and Ira. That's going to be good times. I'm looking at your list, though.
You'll get my top 5 tomorrow, won't you?
Is that where I thought we should probably make people wait? But I guess it's the natural thing.
Well, it's just my top 5, though. It's not the overall top 5.
Well, I don't know. I want to kind of maybe wait and do it in unison with the composite being rolled out because we rolled out the composite on Sunday of 6 through 10. So that's going to be
so I think tomorrow will be the 1 through 5.
Okay.
Yeah. So we can do it. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about it tomorrow. It'll be up by tomorrow for sure.
Right. We talked about off air. There's another guy on the defensive side of the ball opposite. We talk about Marvin Wilson and DeMarcus Christmas on the interior. Brian Burns going to ACC kickoff. He's got to show out if he wants. I mean, he can go pro whether he has a good year or not, but you'd imagine he wants to obviously put his best foot forward. But like Josh Kando, that's another guy you want to talk about potential coming off an injury. We don't even really know if it was do we know if it was an injury, what he wasn't participating in spring for, or we're just assuming because he was with the injured people? I
just assume he was injured, yeah.
Yeah, but golly, I don't know how people really size up Florida State on the front line, whether it's offensive line or defensive line. Depth is going to be an issue for sure. But if all these guys play up to who they were billed as coming out of high school and what they've shown so far, whether it's a guy like DeMarcus Christmas, whether it's a guy like Derek Kelly playing and being super tough, and same thing with Alec Everly, I think that's the one thing that maybe we're not factoring in enough. I think we're so hyper-focused on those two segments, whether it's the defensive line as a whole or the ends or the interior. There's really established talent there that has to make you feel good.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and I think a guy like Kendo, again, we don't know. He's kind of the unknown, which is a lot of these guys on defense are unknown, quite frankly. We just assume they're really good because the guy that was doing the recruiting the last few years was pretty darn good at it. And the little that we've seen of these guys, I think Kendo had I know, again, it might have been Louisiana Monroe, but he had 4 sacks in a game.
No, did he really?
I think so. I think one of the games at the end of the year, he had 4.5 sacks, 3 or 4 sacks in a game.
He had 6.5 tackles for loss. He had 4 sacks for 25 yards last year. Yeah, I'm looking at his stat line.
I think it all came in the same game.
He played in every game last year? He played
barely. He might have been on the PAT block team or something.
They've got him 13 games participation, 11 unassisted, 6 assisted, 17 total, 6.5 tackles for loss, and then 4 sacks. Golly, good for him.
But he's a physical specimen, man. He is a huge dude that can move. In the same, you get one of these guys, if you get a Marvin Wilson and a Josh Kendo that can really make plays and can disrupt, it just disrupts everything. Everything. I know Alabama's great all over the field on defense. It's not just like they have great defensive linemen. But, man, when you have a great defensive line, it's hard to do anything.
Yep.
Doesn't matter if you can pass or you got a Deshaun Watson at quarterback, a mobile quarterback, maybe. That's your best bet. But, man, everybody else, it's really hard to move. Nick Chubb had 40 yards on 22 carries in that national championship game. The defensive line is the key to it all. And if these guys can be game changers, if they can be impact players, man, not only does it bode well for 18, but they're both sophomores. So you got a chance to be something really special in 19 if these guys reach their potential.
5 solo tackles, 4 sacks against Delaware State. Look at you.
Get you some, Delaware State. What's the matter with you?
The Hornets.
Can you not chip? Can you not use an extra blocker? Maybe quit running the running back out in the flat, but help out your tackles. Good grief. Yeah, so, again, it's not like you should be all that impressed because he had 4 sacks against Delaware State. DeMarcus Walker probably could have had 13 against that team. It was ridiculous that they were in Doak Campbell Stadium last year. But at any rate, the fact you can see how he moves. You can see the explosiveness that he has. Whether he got the results on the field or not, you can see that there's something there to work with. And you just assume, you hope that the coaching is better. The defense takes more advantage of his unique set of skills, like Liam Neeson.
A unique set of skills.
And he has a breakout sophomore season, and I think he has a real chance to do that.
What do you think is Liam Neeson's favorite fruit, Corey? Probably like a pineapple. Drop the ball. Come on, man.
I know what you meant me to do. Come on, man. I'm not like a. I don't take requests.
I don't
think it'd be good on the. I don't think it'd be good on the over the
right.
remotely.
We don't want to.
I gotta be in studio.
Well,
when I'm in studio next time, ask me that question.
You're fine. You got to keep something for headlines. We don't want to steal everything away from it. They can keep something.
True. And I have the squirrel. I always have the squirrel story for headlines.
There you go. Hey, we got only about 30, 45 seconds left, and I don't want to put you on the spot like this, but do you agree or disagree with this? If Marvin Wilson has a better, more disruptive year than DeMarcus Christmas, or like Josh Kendo outperforming Brian Burns, which would surprise you more of those two scenarios? The underclassman, I guess, the pupil outperforming his.
Marvin Wilson would surprise me more.
I agree.
But not only because I think DeMarcus Christmas has established himself as a very good college football player. Brian Burns hasn't done that yet. But I also think Kendo is closer to Burns right now than Marvin Wilson is to DeMarcus Christmas.
I agree. I think Kendo's the one guy that, we're starting to talk about him because we're getting higher up on the list, but that's the one guy that I'm maybe most intrigued about, 5-star sort of guy that we didn't get the full picture of last season. I think he could. I think everyone's high on Brian Burns, and I get it, but Josh Kendo to me is the guy that I'm really, really interested to see how he performs coming up in 2018. So
you and me both, Playboy.
All right, man.
You and me both.
Way to start the week off, Corey. He and I, that's Corey, we'll do a show again tomorrow, and then we'll be on the road. I think Irish O'Fell will be probably filling in on Wednesday. But from then on, it'll be all three of us, or at least some combination of the three of us. It'll be gold, we promise. He's Corey. I'm Aslan. Thanks for listening, folks. Jeff Cameron. Is he coming up at 3, Corey?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, hey, have a great day.
Just listen to this again.
Yeah, have a great day if you want to.
The Sod Cemetery, Osceola and Renegade, and of course, the War Chant. These are great traditions known to all Seminole fans. If you are a card-carrying, garnet and gold-wearing Knoll, don't you deserve a site that is truly dedicated to covering FSU sports? WarChant.com's staff has over 50 years of experience covering the Seminoles. WarChant.com is the only FSU outlet with a full-time recruiting analyst in Tallahassee. Plus, it's the only site with a full-time videographer and a daily podcast, 100% dedicated to FSU sports. Why act like Gators and settle for second best? WarChant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.